right, Meepletown, here we go. This is our second set, numbers 40 through 31 of our what, Dean? What is this?
So this is our top 50 games of all time.
All time.
2021 version.
We do this every year.
That's right.
You can go back if you want to and look on the YouTubes or listen to the podcast and see what our best ones were from last year and top 50 from the year before.
How do you do your list, John? Just give people a little insight. What's going on in Johnny Meepletown's mind when you're figuring out your list?
I think we have the same thing. What game would we rather play, basically?
That's right. Right. That's really all it comes down to.
So it's not like I'm saying these are the 50 greatest games of all time. I'm saying these are my personal, right now, 50 best games of all time that I want to play.
Yep. That's what we're thinking about. We use Pub Meeple a lot to help us with that.
That helped a lot.
I know for me it doesn't stick exactly with that. I do change it up based on like what the final results are, but recommend going over to Pub Meeple to check out their engine over there to help you if you want to do a list like this, which you might want to, because over in the Meepletown Guild, that is guild number what?
3407. So if you've been watching YouTube or you're on the podcast and you haven't joined our guild, go to BGG, sign up for our guild, because we had a really cool guild member, Matt Walker, right?
Do you know if Matt's really cool, or this was just a cool idea?
I know based on my interactions on the interwebs with him, he's a really cool guy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So Matt started to do his own top 50 and show it in the guild, and he's calling other people to say, look, you better get in here in the guild and show me your top 50, or I'm going to what?
Oh, yeah. He's coming after him.
No, I don't think so. I think he's just encouraging people to do it. I think that's what he wants. He wants people to come show off their top 50, and he showed his on here, the first 10 of those, which is pretty interesting because he put Everdell number 50. So right off the bat, I ripped Matt off and I said, nope, not today, Matt.
I agree with Matt. Everdell will not be on my list. But I still like that game for sure.
He actually has a really unique list on here that I really like. Tiny Towns is one. Meeple Circus.
It seems like that list that you would really enjoy.
It is.
I do too, though. I like his picks.
And also a game I'd never even heard of before, which was, what was that one? Donut Drive-Thru. I've never heard of that.
I have no idea what that is.
Anyway, maybe want to check it out because of his other games on here. So anyway, go on the guild.
Yeah, go to our guild, or if you want to in YouTube, feel free to put that in the comments, right? Put in what go along with us. Go back to our last video and put your 50 through 41. We love to see these lists.
Yeah.
So it's kind of selfish. Like, we want to see, and we love the interaction of the board game community hearing what people's lists are. So
come dance with us in Meepletown.
If you are on our YouTube channel and you've never heard our podcast, you can go to meepletown.podbean.com or iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, pretty much all those. You can just search Meepletown and you can find the podcast, because I think it's okay.
It's all right.
It's a decent podcast. It's adequate.
It is up for a ton of awards that we've come up with
ourselves
on our own. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
And we won all of them, actually. So it's worth checking out. If you're listening to the podcast,
Undefeated.
This is smack dab right in the middle of the podcast, so you need to know we're also broadcasting this on YouTube. So check it out there.
If you haven't gone on YouTube and subscribe, that'd be awesome. But let's get to it, you say?
I say.
It's time to do this.
Number 40, Europe.
All right, so Europe.
Because you like Euros.
That's right. That's what I was thinking. I do really love Euros. Speaking of Euros, my number 40 is an Alexander Pfister game. Some people say this is his greatest game. There's several games that I think some people say are his greatest game. This came out in 2015, and that is Mombasa. Mombasa is a really great game where you're going to be... What's interesting, what I like about it is I really like the card play. The way that you have to plan out the way you're playing your cards. I also really like, and you know what? I should go ahead and click on some of these pictures. I love the way that you have to plan out the cards, but I also love how you're building those cards. You're building your deck so that you can be able to do different actions. There's several tracks like you see here. If you see them, a book track, if you're listening on the podcast, there's tracks all around the board that you're going up because you're also investing in companies in this game. And so those companies is going to be obviously worth more the more you invest, and the more buildings like you're seeing here that are out on the map. And so at the end of the game, you're going to score points based on that. If you ever played Maracaibo, I think that the way the nations are, Dean, the way you go out is influenced, obviously it has to be, by this game, Mombasa. Solid game that came out 6 years ago. Still really enjoy playing this. The only downer I have is I don't love the way it plays at 2, and I play a lot at 2. So if you're one of those persons, I don't know if I would buy this game if you were just going to buy it for the 2-player count. Besides that, really good. You haven't played it, and you need to.
Okay. I'll
Boom.
do that. I've played lots of his other games. This is one that I'm told that I probably would like.
And you enjoy his games.
Maracaibo was on my list already.
That's exactly right.
Might be maybe his only game that's on my list. I don't know.
We
but
worked,
I really
was
like a lot
told
of his games.
by Ryan Fournier that Dean needs to be beaten up because he said that Great Western Trail is not on his list of top games, 50 games of all time.
That's right.
So
what games do I want to play right now? At least 50 other ones besides that one. All right. My number 40 is
that was for you, Ryan.
Is a Stefan Feld game. Some people say this is his greatest.
What is it?
Not many people do. This is Amerigo. Although it's ranked number 384 overall. Did you say what Mombasa was? You probably did.
I did not, and we've been doing a good job of that, or I had been doing a good job of that. I'm going to go back to that real quick, y'all. It is 89 overall.
89 overall. So
really
a lot of people
high.
agree with you there. Okay, so Amerigo is a game where you have a cube tower, and you are going to be dropping cubes.
You love cube towers.
I love the cube towers, but I think I've only played like one game. This is it. But you're dropping cubes into a tower, and that's going to determine what actions you can take that round. So essentially, and John's going to talk about this a little bit later, so I'm not going to go into a lot of depth. But basically,
that's true.
You'll be able to move your ship around based on how many blue cubes, or if there's any blue cubes come out, and the majority of whatever the majority of the cubes are that came out.
Yep.
So. Anyway, the way that this game plays out, the way you're building an engine through the tech tokens that you're going to get, the way you're moving your ship around and docking, and you've got these polyomino pieces that you're building onto the islands and gaining majority of points that way. There's so much cool stuff going on in this game, but really it all comes down to the cube tower, because I love the cube tower. I love it. It's a fun game.
Well, I'm going to pass on talking about this because it will actually not only be in my list, but today on my list. So there you go. That is your number 40.
40.
Amerigo. My number, speaking of Alexander Pfister, I'm going to go back-to-back Pfister.
Oh, goodness.
And I'm going to say Mombasa at 40 and Maracaibo at 39.
By the way, John only has 2 designers on his top 50.
That is not true. I have 3.
Feld and Pfister. That's what this is.
No, you forgot about Rosenberg.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 3.
You can't forget about him.
That's right. That is, percentage-wise, that's a lot of your games.
That's it. That's all it is. So Maracaibo, Dean mentioned this. I got a chance to play this again this last week. I hadn't played it in a while. And what I was struck by, that reminded me what I like about this game so much, there was a prototype version there in that picture, is the card play. I'm going to show some cards here.
Yeah.
The card play is absolutely brilliant in this game. To go along with that, if you see here, they have these synergy tokens that you can get. And synergy tokens affect the card play. So it's not just I'm comboing this card with this card. It's this card gives me synergy token. And then whenever I grab this other card over here, it's going to increase my income track too if I have that synergy token. I just think that that's super brilliant. Really, really fun. What do you think?
Yep. I mean, it was in my top 50.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. It was like 40 something.
I also really like, I talked about Mombasa and the way that the investing in companies works. The way that the nations go out and you're, getting more influence with the nation. I like that on the board a lot. The going around on the map, I'm showing the map here, isn't the most interesting thing for me. I think that's what, I kind of, when I look back at the game and went, because you can just go to spots where you just do 2 actions by going to a village. I didn't feel like that was as interesting as Great Western Trail, because Great Western Trail, you're constantly building more buildings in it. Yes, they do change with the quests and stuff, but that's going to be why Great Western Trail, one of the reasons I like it better than Maracaibo, but I still really like this game. That is my number 39, Maracaibo.
Yep. Great game. So is Great Western Trail. You don't need my validation from it being in my top 50.
Oh, I don't need that at all.
Maracaibo
I don't care about yours. And I didn't mention I failed you again. 36 overall.
We did mention that last week.
In 2019. So. This game is 2 years or a year and a half or whatever old, and this thing is 36 overall. I get it, I guess. I mean, I've rated 39 overall.
So last week I talked about a game that came out this year in 2021. This one came out last year, 2020. It was the Meepletown Collective Game of the Year.
Game of the Year!
That's right, in 2020. This was my number maybe 3, 4 or something on that list. Tawantinsuyu is a game by David Turtzi, which is a worker placement game, but it's a really interesting take on worker placement.
And speaking of games rated 36th overall, this is rated 1,000, ranked 1,235th.
Yep. So very, very close. to that.
Just missed it.
I don't know if that's because this game came out in 2020 or it's just not getting enough hype around it, but people need to play this game.
I think it's a combination, but I think it's not getting the hype it deserves. This game is so good, it's not even going to be on my list today.
Yeah.
It's going to be later on. I only added 2 games from last year to my list.
Now, looking at this game, it looks not pretty on the table. I think it looks good.
Yes, it does.
No, close up it does, but when you're looking at it from far away, it doesn't have like this amazing table presence. But basically what you're doing is you're placing workers. You're taking the actions based on those. You have to play a card with that matches a symbol where you're placing your worker. If it's the only worker of its color in that area, surrounding area, then you're just going to take one action based on whichever symbols are around there. So you might be taking potatoes. You might be doing other things. Okay.
Yeah.
If you have other workers, you're going to be able to take multiple actions. Again, based on the symbols that are around there, you can take, like, if you have 2 different color ones, you can take 2 different actions of, the surrounding actions. Really interesting piece, but there's a lot more to this game than that. You're building up tapestries, which is like an engine building piece. Yeah. There's the meeples themselves have special abilities, which is fantastic. I love that about it. I mean, that's one of my favorite parts of the game.
Every meeple has its own, every color has its own special ability.
There's tons of ways to get points in this one. It feels like Feldy, but I don't want to take credit away from David Tzolk'in. This is very much his design, and it is fantastic, so good. And for somebody who's not I don't love all the Euros. You're much more the Euro guy than me. This is a fantastic game, and I highly recommend people checking this one out. Tawantinsuyu, the Inca Empire.
Forgive me, Dean, but I'm truly stunned this was our game of the year just because I didn't think you would like it as much as I do.
Yeah,
I still don't think you like it quite as much as I do.
Oh, no, I don't.
Are close.
Yeah.
You're actually pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I played that again recently. Game. I will share that later on, some of my thoughts. That was your 39?
Yep.
Tawantinsuyu. My number 38 is Lorenzo il Magnifico. Remember whenever we played that at your house that one day, Dean? You don't remember?
No, I do. I remember now.
You whipped me at it, didn't you?
I'm sure
I think
did.
I remember you
I win a lot of games.
Bending me over and tapping me on the booty.
I did not do that.
Your children walked in and they're like, what's going on in this room?
Oh, my goodness.
So this is ranked 96 overall. For a good reason. Simone Luciani, Virginio Gigli, Flaminia Brasini, this team has designed a lot of very good games. Very good games. Coimbra is a good game. Alma Mater from last year was a good game. I don't think Luciani was on that one, but this team has created some very good games. This is my favorite of their games, and this was from 2016. So this is. There's been several games they've done since then, some really fun games, but in this game, what's so cool about it is you have these dice that you roll, all 3 dice, and that's the power action that everyone is going to get to use, right? So there's not just like a luck thing where I rolled well and Dean rolled poorly. You're all going to have to figure out how to make those dice work for you. There is ways to mitigate and change the dice values and stuff like that, but this is another game. I mentioned card play in Maracaibo. Isn't this game, Dean, pretty much all about the card play? It's getting the right cards, building the card engine. It's really fun in this game to run your engine. If you build, certain sets of cards are going to give you engines. Some are going to give you, in-game scoring. I'm trying to, on the YouTubes, y'all, find some pictures of that, of some of the cards out. Here we go, the picture with different cards. Some are, again, going to run your engine, and that's fun. When to run the engine, when to get in-game scoring, when to shift your focus potentially in the game. These spots, the worker placement spots in this game, are super tight. And when to get that card, but I'll really want that action there. That's not a card action, but oh no, Dean might take it. Really like this one.
Yep. All right.
That's it? No comments about it.
It's an okay game for me. I didn't love it. I think it's fun.
Get it out of here.
I think it's a fun game, but it's not top tier for me.
Lorenzo il Magnifico. We're trying to make sure that we say the name again in case. Say my name again.
That's right.
Say my name again.
Lots of people
38.
really, really love this game. And that is, what did you say overall? I think you did say it, but.
It was, I'll go back. It was 96 overall, I believe. That is correct.
Okay. Speaking of super dry Euros, I'm looking at Hansa Teutonica. Now you're not going to see all of these really dry Euros, but this one is a very dry.
I pulled up the big box version. Dean, you have it on your screen.
Well, so it's ranked 134 overall when you look at Hansa Teutonica, the regular game. But the version I have is the big box version because that's what you can get these days. Looks pretty cool. I like the
Yeah,
look
I like
of it.
the art on it. It looks nice.
Yeah, it's cool. So basically, one of the reasons I love this game is how fast this game plays. Every turn is lightning fast, unlike most any game that I've ever played before. It's really cool. It's almost like you're playing like this timed version of a game. You're going to take actions based on what you have on your board. And so if I have 3 actions, I'm going to take 3 actions on my turn. But later on, I might be able to unlock more actions, so I can take 5 actions. What you're going to do is you're basically, throughout the game, you're going to be placing these cubes onto the board and gaining majority of these different routes. That's essentially it. But there is a mean piece to this game in that I can take one of your cubes off of the board and put mine there instead to prevent you from getting that. But here's the cool thing. You might think, oh, that game's mean and I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings. You won't, because they will take one of their cubes from their supply and then put it onto the board adjacent to the route that they're on, including the one that they just got rid of. So it's not like you're losing. Yeah, you're not losing anything. You're actually gaining a big benefit from somebody doing that. And in fact, you might even set up, and you will do this, I'll set up cubes in John's route just to mess him up, because I know that he'll have to push me out, and I'll be able to get more cubes on a different,
I like that
on an
idea.
adjacent route. This game is fantastic, John. This game no doubt will make your top 50, maybe even your top 20 if you play it.
So here's the
You'll love this game.
I've almost bought this many times. The only reason I haven't is just it's not 2-player. Now, I do know that the original, and people talked about this, actually has a 2-player variant.
Yep.
So I could just go back to the 2-player variant and play it with this, which is what I would do.
I wanted to say Rado
That's what's
did
hesitated. That's
a
what
video
hesitated
of that.
me. Yeah.
Right? Is that right?
I don't know.
I think Rado did a 2-player playthrough of this with that variant. I think that's right.
It just seems really strange if people like that variant. Maybe the variant's not good. I've heard some positive things about it. It seems very strange in a time where we're wanting to have 2-player games and solos of everything, why they would come out with a game and just do 3 to 5.
If you rate this game based on a 2-player experience, I think it wouldn't be as good.
And maybe that's it.
Because the player interaction is what really does make this game so strong.
They made us be saying, you know what, we don't really want you to play it like that. If you have to, you have to.
Yeah. Yeah. This
Sounds
game
good.
it's really, really good. But I don't know of a game that plays faster on your turns. Your turns might take like 10 seconds. So you're like zipping around the board. It's so good.
There you go. Number 38, is that right, Dean? Hansa Teutonica.
Yep.
My number 37 is better than Orléans, and that is Altiplano. Do I have to say that every time? Yes, I do.
I mean, do you want to spread lies every time?
I will. It's a controversial statement that I make.
It's not controversial. What's it ranked overall?
It is ranked 295 overall, and Orléans is ranked less because simpletons like Orléans.
It's 25. I mean, there is no competition, John.
That's a joke completely, by the way. Orléans, I'm sorry.
You did
I've got
it.
Orléans in the brain.
I won.
So Altiplano is a Reiner Stockhausen game, and so is Orléans. They're very much compared to each other. They're
both really good, too, by the way.
Yeah, Altiplano came out, when, a year or two later? When did Orléans come out? Did you have that pulled up?
I do have it pulled up because I'm talking about it today.
Stockhausen had it on the...
2014.
Okay, 2017 was Altiplano. I'm just making the point that he sat back and thought about what would make Orléans better, and he came out with a better version of the game, and that is Altiplano. If you disagree with me, that's fine. So in Altiplano, there's all these different kind of like islands. They're not actually probably technically islands, but they look like islands, and you're going to be moving around to those and really just buying and selling goods. You're getting these goods and you're building. It's a bag builder game, so that's fun. I like bag builders. You, Dean?
I do a lot. Talked about Quacks last week.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a bag builder game. You're going to be unlocking, more abilities to move around faster and cart your things over. And you're also going to have tiles in this game that are going to unlock ways to do things faster, or maybe even give you goods that you couldn't get before. And so you're building engines over the course of the game, doing a lot of buying, selling, trading. I like the Traveler expansion. If you've never played with that, it adds more thinkiness. What I like about it better than Orléans, if you've never watched me say this, and I think Orléans is a really good game. I kid, I joke, but I like how you have to go through the entire bag before you, so it's not as luck based, before you put them back into your bag, your discs, and then start drawing them back out. Orléans, you're just drawing them out every single time. So you could just get unlucky, and kind of like the cube tower in Amerigo, there's one stuck in the corner and you just don't pull it or whatever. I guess you could shake your bag up better. Anyways, that, and then on top of that, I actually like the extra piece of having to go around and like move your worker around this around these little island-looking things here. In Orléans, you don't have to worry about that. This adds another layer of thinkiness. It also adds another layer of AP. And my negative for this game is I do think it can get a little long in the tooth sometimes. I said it.
I won.
You told me this a while ago, and I was like, I don't know. But last time I played it, I was like, I was several rounds left. I was like, yeah, I'm ready for this to be over.
That's easily my biggest complaint. I get that. It's a fun game. It is really cool. All those things that you said you like, I like as well. Just last a little bit too long for what it is.
Yep. If they would shorten it up, it could be really even higher. So anyways, that is my number 37. That is Altiplano. What is your 37,
So
Dean?
my number 37 is a not Euro game. I've moved away from the dry Euros onto something a little more thematic. That is Star Wars Imperial Assault. So this is
ranked 49.
Ranked 49 overall.
Hi.
I think people really like this game because it has a couple different ways of playing it. One way is the story mode where you're using you're using an app. I mean, if you once they kind of redid things, you're using an app to play through this.
Those minis, it has minis. That's why.
That's right.
That's why Dean has it ranked.
I do have this one painted up too. Not everything because that's a lot of stuff. But so people like the story element. I really like the story piece, but the skirmish game of this is really, really fun. You can pick your team. You can, I can use the Imperials. I can use the rebellion. I can use the scum. I can use whatever, and I'm building up my team, and then I'm going to take you on, John, and I'm going to take you out on these different missions. It's fantastic either way you play it. Quite enjoy. I don't even know if I have a preference over which one, just because they offer, benefits with either side that you're playing. So anyway, I love this game. I don't think this has been on my list before, which has been a surprise.
It hasn't.
At least last year it wasn't, and it should have been. It probably should have been. It's just kind of out of sight, out of mind. I hadn't played it in a while, but it's fantastic.
I'm tired of scrolling through all these pictures of everyone's painted minis. I just want to see the board game in action. But all I get is everyone showing off their minis.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
You like that? Would you on BGG, do you ever go through a game and just spend a ton of time scrolling through? Oh, look at that.
Looking at miniatures?
Child. Yeah, just looking at miniatures and the way people paint them.
Well, yeah, I have to as a painter. For me, I'm not
super
creative. I need to see the color scheme, a lot of what people paint things. It helps me out a lot. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so that is your number 37. My number 36 is a game that went off my list last year, and now it's back on. So, hey, on again, off again. It's one of those kind of types of relationships. And that is Viticulture.
I'm surprised this jumped back on,
Essential
honestly.
Edition. This is the only Stegmaier game on my list. So, Tapestry, no. But it was very borderline.
All right.
It was borderline.
Ryan,
maybe not very.
Ryan Fournier, who asked John to beat me up, I can almost guarantee, I know Ryan, I know the games that Ryan likes, and pretty sure he's going to want you to get punched over that.
Let me explain it. I'm going to explain why it came back on the list. This is ranked 24th overall. In Viticulture, by the way, you have your own winery, and you're just going. That's a pretty straightforward worker placement game. And you're going to be placing your workers and doing the actions that it says on the board. In addition to that, it has some fairly interesting card play. But this is what I like. This is why it came back on my list, because I went and I said, what game would I rather play? This game is probably the game that I get most thematic about. I know that maybe sounds silly, a wine-making game. I really enjoy wine. It's just something I enjoy. I really enjoy going to wineries and talking to mom and pop shops about how they open their wineries and just sitting around thinking, wow, that'd be really cool one day if I had my own winery. In this, what I love about this is I love going and getting a glass of wine, sitting down and pretending I'm doing a winery.
I'm
it's
totally
the
with you.
Experience,
yeah,
less than it is the mechanics and the gameplay. Though they're good. They're good and they're solid. I just keep saying, you know what? I would rather have that experience than some of these other games, even though but the mechanics are really solid in this. So there you go. That's why it joined my list again. I like it.
You've heard me talk about Keyflower being like a comfort game where I can just sit down. That's what this game is exactly that way. You're absolutely right. It has been on my list before, just didn't make it this year. I actually love Viticulture quite a bit. I actually could have had probably 4 games. I consider Pendulum being on my top 50 too.
Could have even made this higher.
Yep. It's a good game. It's really
good. Pendulum, really top 50.
It's a good game. It didn't make my top 50, but it could have.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it near that much.
That's cool.
Look
That's
at
a cool
that.
upgrade. All right, my number 30. What is
That's
6?
my number 36.
All right, number 36. Did
I
you
think
say
I
what
just
that
tried to
was
say something.
ranked? You may have. but
Number 36, Viticulture. I did say what it was ranked, but I'll go back. It's 24.
24. All right, mine is Endeavor Age of Sail, which is ranked 120 overall.
I've never played this one. You
Nope.
keep telling me to play it.
John, every year this has been on my list, and every year you say, I need to play this game. Even the 2009 version is ranked at 307.
It's the same thing with Anachrony for you and the same thing with Caverna for
That's
you.
right. Maybe we should actually just sit down and play games sometime. Endeavor Age of Sail is a game that I think John would like. I don't know if it would be top 50, but I think it would probably be a potential just because I know the games you like. This is a Euro game, but it has a lot of player interaction in it as well. So basically you are building up you're putting different buildings onto your board, which are going to, that's the engine building piece of it. Okay. So you're building an engine through your buildings, and every round you have to build something. And that's the timer for the game as well. And at the top of the board, you have these different trackers to show how many of the different people you're going to get, what type of level building you can build, and lots of other different things. But essentially what you're going to be doing is you're going to be worker placing, taking the actions on the buildings that you've already built. And that will allow you to, on the map, take your disc, and you're going to be gaining control of different areas. Mm-hmm. When you take over an area, it's going to give you a bonus, but you're also going to try to expand outside of Europe, and you're going to get bonuses in the form of cards for exploring different areas and taking over the majority of those different areas. And then at the end of the game, you're going to get a lot of points based on your majority, based on a lot of other things, but really you're trying to gain majority in these different areas. If you have disc on either side of a victory point, then you're going to get that victory point plus however many victory points are in the towns and ship areas that you're building. So really cool game. Like this one quite a bit. The gameplay is actually pretty simple. It's right in my wheelhouse of like weight and Euro-y cool mechanics, but also having some player interaction and a little bit of theme going on here. So this is a weight of 2.8, which is again right there in my sweet spot.
There you go.
That's it. I do not have the Kickstarter version of that, which is really, that's the picture that you're showing right now, which is really cool.
The Kickstarter looks great in the version. Yep. Number 36, is that right, Dean?
Yep. Endeavor Age of Sail.
All right, my number 35 is my favorite two-player game of all time. It's Targi.
Yeah.
Talking about game that's not as super heavy. It's Andreas Steger, 126 overall. In this game, this is 2012. I just kind of look back and go, I've played this game for a long time, and it stayed on my list for a very long time. This is probably, you know what I mean? Like, this has been around for a while. I've played it on Board Game Arena a decent amount. How about you?
Yeah.
No?
Uh-huh.
Of course, I have the physical copy and I've played it more, but I still have enjoyed it on Board Game Arena. But in Targi, how many cards are there here? 5 times 5, 25 cards that are laid out on the table. And you're going to be...
When you count the border cards.
When you count the border. Uh-huh. Yeah, I was just about to say that. But you're going to be placing your Targi, but you can't place it across from another player's Targi. Around the border of this game, and as you do that, after you're done setting them and everyone places them, you're going to go and get one of the goods in that row or that column or whatever, or you're going to be able to buy cards by selling your goods or giving up your goods to be able to put them into your tableau. The way you put them into your tableau matters, right?
Yep.
Whether you want to have different symbols or risk it and try to have all the same symbols for more points, all that kind of stuff. It's just a really pretty fast-paced, 45 minutes, maybe an hour-long game here that just feels just elegant. I think it's one of those that I just feel like it's just a very elegant game that's just absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
So
yeah, really fun game. Totally agree with that. I don't know if I agree with it being my favorite two-player game. Probably not. But it's still really good.
Yeah, I think, and I'm talking about two-player only games.
Yeah, two-player only.
Not games to play with two players. But I do think it is the highest-rated one. There's some other ones that are really close, but anyways... Targi, such a
very cool game.
That's 35.
John, something you need to know about me is I'm a pretty shallow person sometimes. Sometimes
we know that.
I just want to eat meeples with sharks. I mean, let's just be honest. I don't want to think. I just want to have fun.
Just do.
Survive Escape from Atlantis is very much that game.
There you go.
This game is wonderful, caveat, with the right people, right? You have to play this one with the right people. People that are okay not getting their feelings hurt. That's a pretty fantastic version of the game.
Someone has made their own It looks like clay, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Pieces to this game, and that is. Dude, what do you think, Dean? Would you do that?
No. I think the components in this are fantastic as they are.
All right, let's actually get to the game. Go ahead, Dean.
So what you're doing is you're moving your different meeples around on the island. This is Atlantis. The island is fading away, right? And so you are trying to escape onto these outer islands before the island just eventually gets destroyed by a volcano, okay? And I'm going to join up with John in a boat and say, hey, John, let's sail across this boat. And then I'm going to take control of it. And then if John has, let's say John has 2 people on there and I have 1, he's the only one that can control it. And I think, wow, I don't mind losing this guy because he's only a value 1, but John might have high value people on there.
Take it down.
I'm going to destroy it with a sea serpent or a whale. And now they have to swim to shore if they don't get eaten by sharks. There is so much hooting and hollering and just good times in this game. I love it so much.
A lot of push your luck.
This one was published originally in 1982 as well, and it's this is an older game.
Older than I am.
Mhm.
I was born in '83. For those who do not
me.
know.
I was playing this game at 2 years old. That's not true,
Yeah.
but love this game so much. I think this one's been on my list every year because it's just great.
Would you choose to play it with Legos like this person did?
No.
Okay.
I think the components are just fine.
Number 35 for Dean. That is Survive Escape from Atlantis. My number 34 is
289 overall. I don't know if I said that. Sorry. Go ahead.
okay. No, that's good. It's good. Is ranked 45 overall, and that is Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar. You brought up Tawantinsuyu. This is a different designer. This is Daniele Tassini and Simone Luciani. But this game has some giant gears on it, doesn't it, Dean?
It does.
That's a prototype version there. Let's get to some real pictures. But you know what, Dean? It's not just a gimmick, is it?
Nope.
Because in this game, you have extremely grueling decisions, y'all. And that is, you are going to either place workers, that's the bit, or you're going to pick workers up. You can't do each. And so planning your turns as to when you place them, they go on these gears. And when they're on the gears, every year, what's going to happen, Dean? They're going to notch 1 or 2 notches potentially.
Yep.
Or maybe not years, every round is what I meant to say. They're going to notch. And so you're going to move into another spot, which is going to give you another ability or a different good if you pull them off. So this game has a lot of kind of pushing your luck. The timing aspect is incredible in this game. Incredibly important that you get the timing right so that you can get the stuff that you need in order to score the points that you need to score. There's a lot of tracks that you're going up and down and all this good, hopefully not down, but you're going up a lot of these tracks. You are building, getting tiles to kind of build engines a little bit. Really fun. Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that might not be the only one in the series that's on your list.
You never know.
I'm just guessing.
You
I'm
never
guessing
know.
here.
You like this one?
Yeah, it's fine.
Wow. You just had Survive Escape from Atlantis, and then you said, that's fine, to Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar.
Yep, Tzolk'in is a game about a calendar.
I would be tuning out.
If I said, hey, general public, would you want to play a game about a calendar or one about getting eaten by sharks?
I mean, you're telling me that people want to get eaten by sharks?
No. A game about getting eaten by sharks or eating other players by sharks.
34, Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar. What's your 34?
My number 34 is this is
Whoa,
another new one.
Here we go.
It's another new one. But
Deanie New Train.
This one,
Deanie Hype.
It's kind of weird because if you know anything about this is Raiders of Scythia. This one came out in 2020, but this is a re-implementation of Raiders of the North Sea with the expansions. There's some twist and some changes in the rules and how this one plays out. But I went ahead and put Scythia because I'm thinking, if I'm promoting this game for somebody and teaching, saying, hey, you should check this game out, this is the point that I would go to. Go to Raiders of Scythia if you've never played any of these games before. In this game,
Are you telling us that Raiders of the North Sea is not on your list? This is the one on your list.
Well, I'm not going to put both of them. That would be silly.
Okay.
Right? I could have put Raiders of the North Sea on my list with all the expansions, and I think that would have been fine. But I decided to just
You'd rather just play this.
put it all together.
Much.
Yep.
Simpler.
That's right.
If you have all the expansions and stuff to Raiders of the North Sea, it's simpler than that.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
A little more streamlined than that for sure. So you're going to place a worker, take the action, then you're going to remove a worker and take the action of that spot. It's as simple as that. You're going to be at the beginning of the game and kind of throughout the game too, but mostly at the beginning, you're building up your resources. So you're going to be gaining all of these, your cards, your crewmates. I was trying to think of
You're trying to get the
food.
proper turn. I'm just like, you get
that's
the
fine.
yellow. And
you get the
black.
You're going to get food. You're going to get your provisions. There we go. You're going to you're going to build up your crew, and then eventually you're going to be sailing out and you're going to be raiding these different areas. And when you raid them, you're going to be taking all of the strength that you have and adding it with a die roll in there potentially, and that's going to determine how much more strength or how many people have been injured and all that. And then it's the player who has the most points at the end of the game once you get to trigger that end game. There's a lot of cool things that I like about Scythia that I like better than just like the regular base game of Raiders of the North Sea. And I think that's why I threw this in
You
there
like the
instead.
eagles and the horses that
That's
you can
right.
add. I've got a picture of that up here.
That's
I do
right.
too. I like
There's a lot of cool things. And overall, I like Scythia better than I like North Sea. The art components, all that's really well done too. Really fun game.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
It's ranked 779 overall. Let's see. North Sea is, wait for it, 92. 92 overall. That's really good.
Do you foresee Scythia ever passing that? Probably not.
I think there's a lot of people who have North Sea that are probably not that interested in Scythia.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yep.
Anyway,
Kind of like me. There's no reason to have both, I don't think.
I don't think so. Yeah.
But I like it. It's a really, really good game. That's your number 34. My number 33 is a game that went off my list last year and is back on the list, and that is, let me rephrase that. This is my favorite two-player game. Only game. Unless you have the expansion, you can play 3. That is Fields of Arle, or Arle. I don't know. Rosenberg game. Dean, you enjoy this one, right?
Yep, I do. It is not on my list.
I was wondering if it was.
But I really
kind of
like
teeing
it.
you up for that.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I don't know if this is on my list.
Could it be on the list?
I don't know now. I'd
If
have to
it's
go and look
higher.
at it. It might be higher.
So
It's a game that could have very well made my top 50. It's that good.
Just a fantastic two-player game. Now, I will say it can get long because it's just it's just like a lot of times whenever I look at two-player only games or small box games, they're under an hour. This is not that. This is not that you. This is definitely a much more lengthy, robust game that you have in this giant box. But in this, I mean, you are going to be placing your workers and doing actions like a lot of other Uwe Rosenberg games. But some of the things I like about it is you can kind of build an engine based on the power of your actions, which if you're looking on the YouTubes, you can see this in the middle of the board here. You can, as you increase those, your actions are actually getting more powerful. There's a lot of upgrading your like wares and goods and stuff like that in this game. That can feel really nice whenever you're doing a lot of upgrades. You're sending them off to different towns and just some really cool stuff like that. This is just a lot of great mechanics in this game. Really like this one a lot. It's not going to be my last Rosenberg game on the list for sure. But just, yeah, I guess at this moment, if I'm willing to play a longer game, this is probably my favorite only two-player game.
Yep.
There you go. Fields of Arle, 34.
Yeah. It's interesting.
33.
You just said Targi.
33.
You just said Targi is the best two-player game.
I know.
And then you rated one higher.
I did. That was wrong. It's because for whatever reason, I don't think about this game often as a two-player only game.
And it can
it's
be
so big.
And it can be a three-player game with the expansion, right?
It can be. That's
there you
exactly
go.
right.
All right, my number 30-something.
I did not tell them what that was rated. I don't
There we
think.
go.
I apologize for this. It is 64 overall. Wow. I'm actually surprised. I didn't realize it was that highly rated.
Yowzers.
The weight is 3.88. That sounds pretty heavy. It didn't seem like it was that, but there's a lot going on. Okay.
My number 33 is a game that's ranked 107 overall. That's Champions of Midgard. This is, I often put this next to Raiders of the North Sea because it's kind of in that, or Raiders of Scythia. It's kind of in that same Viking midweight Euro placement game, that sort of thing. So in this game, you are placing workers and you are trying to...
Do you have the minis for this?
No, I don't think that's a thing. Is it?
I saw some people with minis. They must have gotten them.
No. So in this game, you're placing workers. Again, you're kind of building up things to improve your clan, improve your whatever your person is called. And anyway, after you do that, then you're going on these different missions. You're trying to destroy monsters, and you do that by your crew, your axemen, you got your swordmen, you got your, what's the other one, your berserker or whatever. You are then using them to roll the dice and to attack these monsters. Now, that game itself is fun. The base game is fun. but it would not have made my list. You really, I think, need to get at least the Valhalla expansion. The other Dark Mountain one is fun too. I enjoy that one, but Valhalla especially is almost an essential to make it rise up this high. It makes it from a really good game to a great game, I think. It
mitigates the bad dice rolls.
That's right, because some people really don't like when you just are at the mercy of the die rolls, and if they're terrible, you don't get anything, you just don't kill the monsters. But with this, you get these little tokens that will help you later on in the game. That really does change things quite a bit. So
totally agree.
I highly recommend that. This is a really fun game, especially if you're like me who likes some of those midweight Euro thematic type games. This is really good.
Yeah,
Champions of Midgard.
Have I played this with my wife before? I don't remember, but I feel like she would.
Are
like
you
this
asking
game.
me this question?
Yeah, I'm asking you, and I'm asking myself.
And Meepletown. Has John played this with his wife before?
I feel like this is one she would like. So
that's probably right. We need to get this one out.
Yeah, I feel like you and her are even more similar for sure than her and I in games.
That's probably right. She probably likes some heavier ones more than I do, I would say sometimes.
I think I force her to.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I force her to, obviously, but I ask her if she would like to, and I think she would rather. I think she would rather. By force,
I mean I ask.
Yeah, nicely. I think she would rather hang in that like 3-weight wheelhouse. So speaking of games that I'm going to guess is in the 3-weight wheelhouse, I would have guessed 2.99 on BGG.
There we go.
The rank overall is 384. Dean already talked about that, so I'm not going to go into much more details about it. That is Amerigo, a Stefan Feld game. Yeah, so I like the cube tower like Dean does. I think that's really cool. I just think that this is one of his games I feel maybe one of his more thematic games because the way you're going out to the islands and expanding. And I love the way at the end of the game you look at and you just look at your islands and what you've been able to what do you call it? Oh my gosh. This game is not about exploiting, is it?
No.
And if it is, then I pretend like it's not.
It's about exploring.
Exploring, settling. Let me say settling. That's what I meant to say. These territories that you're settling. And I love looking and go, man, look at what I was able to accomplish. I like the way that you have the negative cannon shots in this game, but you can mitigate it pretty easily if you want to. Like I kind of like those mechanics, but then you're maybe not playing as optimally as possible.
Yep.
It's oftentimes pushing your luck a little more is actually probably more advantageous. I like that. Really good game. 32 Amerigo.
We already said this one too, but what's that one overall, John? That's 384 overall. Mm-hmm. There we go.
So that's my 32. So I've got one more. Dean's got 2 more. What's your 32, Dean?
My number 32 is a game that is ranked 25 overall, higher than Altiplano, and that is Orléans.
I was expecting you to say as a game that is better than Altiplano.
I would never say that.
Yes, you would.
It is better than Altiplano. It is a game that is also in that same wheelhouse, that weight wheelhouse of around 3. It's 3.04. This is a bag building game just like Altiplano. You are going to be drawing pieces out of your bag, and then you're using them to put them out onto the board to take different actions, but you're going to have to stack these different discs into different spots in order to take those actions. And so part of this game is you really need to figure out which strategy you're going to go with and then which of those types of workers that you're going to want to draw out of your bag. Now, John mentioned this one is a little bit luckier, and in the sense that he was talking about, I don't disagree with that. However, it's really important that you are going to whittle your bag down, right? You can't just load up with a ton of disc in your bag. You really are going to have to take them out, which is why I recommend the expansion on this one, which allows you. So in the base game, you can still whittle out your pieces, but it's just not as interesting, the board that they're going to go on to. And I forget which expansion it was. Trade and Intrigue. That's right. I think that's right too. So you are placing them onto a board that is more interesting, and you're able to do more things. That's right. And you're also exploring around on this board too. As you're taking the different actions to travel around, you're going to get different resources. Those resources are going to help you get points and other things. And anyway, it's a fun game. Bag building is a lot of fun. I enjoy that quite a bit. I want to play more bag builders. There's 2 on my list so far.
There you go. I still have Orléans. So, So I still like it enough to where I didn't just toss it. I don't play it a lot, but I still, when I want to play it, I want to play it.
For all these games, I also recommend getting those Geek Up bits from the Board Game Geek store.
Pretty sweet.
It's just nice. It's a lot more appealing drawing those like plastic pieces out of the bag than it is these thin. They're not thin, but cardboard pieces.
Dean was not paid or encouraged to say that.
No. I'm not.
We make all the monies. Anyway, my number 31 is another Stefan Feld game. How about that? Are you surprised this is this high or no?
I'm not surprised that you have another Stefan Feld game. You got 3 designers on all of your top 50.
302 overall, a 2007 game. So this has been around for a while, and that is Notre Dame. Anyways, by Stefan Feld.
Oh no,
look
you
at
did.
that, man! Someone like really up to this game. Holy smokes,
that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
That is impressive. Yeah. Anyways,
for this game,
because this game is so good, they have
it's
own
good, but
miniatures. If you're listening on YouTube, their own buildings that stand up. This is incredible.
It looks amazing, but it's Notre Dame that you're putting this for. Notre Dame is a really good game, but putting all that stuff in there does not make it any more thematic. I'll say that. Although it looks amazing.
I think it would make it a little more thematic, maybe. So in this game, it's really interesting because you have a deck of cards and you're going to be drawing 3 cards. Is that right? I should know that. And you're going to have to pick between 2 of them. And you always have these pools in this game of, I've got these things, but I really want to do this and I really want to do that. This game is super tight. Like, money is very tight in this game. The rats that come and attack, oh man, you want to get rid of the rats. You want to get more money. You want to spread more influence out into your burrow so that you can get more powerful actions. You want to do a lot of things, and you can't do them all.
That's right.
And you got to figure out what's the most optimal. And what I like about this, why this is ranked so high for me at 31 is, it's a pretty quick game. I can get it pretty quick, thinky decisions, challenging decisions, and man, let's throw back to 2007 and say he killed it then. It still holds up today. I like the cards and the card play. I like the expansion. And I think that really adds to it as well to give it some more variability.
We did a playthrough of this not that long ago. We actually messed up one of the rules on there. It had been a minute since the last time we played. But
we fixed it on the video.
But definitely check that one out. It's a fun game.
Yep. If I can remember, I'll put a card link to that. But if you don't see one right now, then just be like,
Notre Dame. Just type it in. Come on.
31, Notre Dame. Dean, what's your 31? Your
last
one for today.
The last one of the day is a 2014 game, Sheriff of Nottingham. Now, this is a reprint of a game originally called Robin Hood. Let me see when that one came out. I am clicking on that right now.
Look at that guy.
So this one initially came out in 2011, and then it was picked up by Arcane Wonders, and now it's published by Command Games. And the reason why I'm saying all that is because I have the Arcane Wonders edition, which I think is the prettier version. But if you have that and the expansion, that's what you're getting with the Command version, if I got that right. So in this game, it is a game of bluffing, John. I'm going to have...
I know it's been a really long time since I've played this.
Okay. So let me just refresh your memory a little bit. Somebody's going to be the sheriff, and the sheriff is like the gatekeeper. They're trying to make sure that nobody's bringing in contraband to the city. So I've got my bag, and I'm going to say, hey, John is the sheriff. I've got 4 bread. I have to call it the same type of good. I've got 4 bread in my bag that I'm just trying to get through the city. And John's going to say, okay, I'm going to trust you, or I think you're a filthy liar. And if John opens up the bag and I was telling the truth, then John owes me some money, okay? If the other thing happens and I brought contraband in, which is more than likely going to be what happens when I'm trying to get things through the city, then I'm going to owe John money and I'm going to lose that contraband. This game is amazing.
That's pretty much it, right? With
the right people. Yep, that's essentially it. Yeah. I mean, you're trying to get different sets and you're going to get points that way. Like, that's how you're going to get points is getting the, not sets, but getting more than other people, getting a majority of different types of good. Contraband's going to give you a ton of money, and whoever has the most money at the end of the game wins. With the right people, this game is amazing. With the wrong people, it's not as much fun. So you really need to enjoy the bluffing. You need to enjoy the bluffing, but the game is just amazing. It's incredible.
There you go.
It is better than Notre Dame.
Are you serious? You seriously think that Sheriff of Nottingham is better than Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I do. So that is it for this next 10. This has been quite the, if you're listening to the podcast, it's been quite the lengthy episode of the podcast.
We had to do a review on Ankh.
That's true.
And if you want to hear our review on Ankh, go listen to our podcast.
That's right. That's exactly right. But in the meantime, John, tell people how they can get in touch with us.
If you are enjoying our channel, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to us on the podcast, we would love for you to give us a rating on iTunes or whatever you're listening to us on. We're at Meepletown Games on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you'd like to support what we're doing, you can go to patreon.com/Meepletown. And as I mentioned earlier, we are Board Game Geek Guild 3407.
Thanks for coming down to Meepletown. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to our Patreon supporters for making content like this possible. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, go to patreon.com/Meepletown. To follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, find us at Meepletown Games. Finally, to connect with us and other residents of Meepletown, you can join Guild 3407 at BoardGameGeek.com. Until next time, thanks for coming down to Meepletown.